Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or evening, depending on where you're watching from. Welcome to the Daily Kerbal. My name is Lemorack, and today I'm finally putting myself past one of my greatest adversaries throughout my history with Kerbal Space Program, and that is single stage to orbit, SSTO for short. Now, after numerous failed attempts for me to try and do this by myself, I finally caved and started looking up tutorials on the internet. And I found one. I'm going to link this in the description, which was by far the most useful one that I found so far. Basically, as far as, Kerbal single stage to orbit goes, I got a perfect little set of math equations. It's a stretch, but a small set of, basic proportions that you need to calculate in order to determine exactly, what the weight of the payload is. The payload in this case is everything beyond this point, right? The crew cabin, the docking port, and everything ahead of it, as well as, compared to the payload, the amount of engines that you need, of Rapier liquid fuel engines, the amount of jet fuel, and the amount of rocket fuel that you need. I'm not going to go into detail as to exactly what those numbers are, but I have I've seen evidence that this works, and this is my first. Well, it's not my first attempt, but this is the version that I'm going to be testing today. Let me show you a couple of the other ones. They're pretty much the same thing. Got the single stage to orbit Mark 1. Looks like this. This is just the very basics of what I was talking about. It's got the amount of engines, and it's got just a crew cabin and a docking port. So this would be like a basic send two Kerbals up to the space station type of space plane, and it costs 50,000 credits. It's pretty cheap. We can land it, and essentially, since it works, this spacecraft would make the Vision Pursuer and its rocket entirely obsolete, right? So then, obviously, the next step is I literally just added a crew cabin onto the front of this. It is Mark 1.2, I think. Yep. So this is one we're going to be flying today, and I figured that what we should be doing, as long as I'm going to be doing this single stage to orbit stuff, I'm going to perform, like, let's say 2 flights. I have 2 contracts that I picked up that is perfect for us to give this a shot. We got a rescue Kerbal from orbit of Kerbal. This is going to be one of them. This is what this spacecraft is going to do, as well as dock once with the Kerbal Gateway Spaceport to perform a crew transfer. Because we got some Kerbals who've been up in space for a while, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring them back down. We're going to take a replacement crew up there with them, and then on our way back, we're going to pick up Kerbal from orbit. And then the second flight that we're going to perform, well, you know what? I'll just leave that to when it comes. So, flash forward to the launch pad with the SSTO Mark 1.2. And here we are, ready for takeoff. Crew is prepared. We're going to be bringing back 2 pilots back from the space station, and we're going to be sending up a full round crew. We got an engineer, we got a pilot, and we got a scientist. The Kerbal that we're going to be recovering today, I believe, is an engineer, just having briefly checked the Space Center. Anyway, SAS engaged, throttle to maximum, and just checking to make sure that the mode is good. We're on manual switching. Off we go. The flight is a lot more straightforward than I thought it would be. We're basically going to be just pointing towards orbit and getting up there. Go. Come on, give us some lift. Give us some lift, please. There we are. Going to be pointing us at 20 degrees. By the way, I'm flattered for every single view that I get. I am very pleased. But if you're actually looking for a reliable SSTO tutorial, this is probably not the one. I'm going to link the one that helped me get this flight ready, assuming, of course, that it works. So basically, we're just going to be burning liquid fuel. We're going to be burning the jet fuel as much as we can to get us as far as we can. And then once we're in orbit, everything else is obviously going to follow. I'm going to keep speeding up. This is already a lot better than any of my previous flights. But yes, as it turns out, it's actually a lot simpler than I thought it would be. We're going to be skimming it, obviously. So, you know, the liquid fuel that we're going to be left with by the end of this is going to be just barely enough to perform our tasks. But again, that's why we have a space station, right? You get up there, you fuel up, and you keep going. Look at this. So we're still climbing. And I'm going to continue to burn roughly at this speed all the way until you can see that our thrust has started to drop. We're stalling, obviously, and the engines are running out of air. So pretty soon we're going to be switching over to the rocket fuel engines. As soon as I start hearing the sound of the engine, you know, losing power, that's when I'm going to do it. We'll be able to hear an audible. Again, the danger here obviously is burning up, just like when you fall back down through the atmosphere too quickly, going out of the atmosphere too quickly is also, you know, just as dangerous. Anyway, here we go. I'm now going to switch the engine's mode. There we are. And now from here on out, it's pretty much standard orbital maneuver. We're going to push up all the way until we get a high enough apoapsis, which in this case I'm going to say should be about between, like, obviously above 70, but with room for error, so like between 70 and 100. And just looking at our fuel, looks like this is going to work. Here we go. We're at 80. I'm going to push it up to 90, and I'm going to stop there. Alright. Deactivate the engine and just continue to let it climb. We're going to drop, obviously, because we're still within the atmosphere. Air resistance is still slowing us down somewhat, but I'm going to speed up all the way up to periaps. 2 minutes. Valentina obviously is our pilot, because Valentina is the best. Best she is at what she does. Best there is at what she does, sorry. Alright, here we go. Close to apoapsis at this point. I'm going to turn our RCS on. Bring us into maneuver, and then we're going to circularize this orbit. And then we're going to stop at the Kerbal Gateway Space Station first. Spaceport will be our first stop. And then our second stop is going to be picking up the Kerbal. I'm going to cut to these, obviously. The rest of this is just, you know, standard orbital maneuver. The interesting part is going to be, obviously, how much fuel do we have. Now, if this was just a single flight, if I didn't have all these tasks to perform while we're out in orbit, which we have now successfully accomplished, by the way. Apologies again for being on the dark side of the planet. Our next launch is going to take place in the sunny side, I promise. But obviously the question here is, what is this enough for? This is going to be more than enough to get us into a rendezvous with the station. I don't think it would be enough to perform all of our tasks, you know, just on their own, but it would be enough to, I don't know, put a payload out into orbit like a satellite or something, and then just land. Anyway, coming up next is going to be our rendezvous and docking with the Kerbal Gateway Spaceport. Okay, so obviously I changed my mind in the mid-time. We're not docking with the station yet. This is just because I was, like, when I looked at the map, I noticed that I was practically on the exact same orbital path as the rescue pod, the pod that we need to rescue. So I was like, yeah, at this point, might as well just slow down and pick it up, right? So that's what we're doing. We're gonna... we've already rendezvoused successfully with the pod. There we go. We just don't even really need to slow us down. Just get her out of there. And just hop right in. Easiest thing ever. get. It's perfect, too, because I just happened to leave a single open seat. So otherwise, you know, we wouldn't have been able to pick her up. Anyway, so that's the rescue mission complete. Next thing is going to be, obviously, docking with the space station, and, you know, hopefully we still have enough fuel. I mean, obviously, we still have enough fuel left to do that. So, yeah, see you at the station. And you can, of course, tell that we have now entered into an orbital rendezvous with the Kerbal Gateway Station because my frame rate is tanked yet again. Anyway, we're well on our way. Soon to perform the docking maneuver. I believe this was my targeted docking port, so that's what we're going to switch to. Now let's orient ourselves properly and begin the docking maneuver. The only reason this is going to take longer than it should is because of this stupid frame rate, but that's fine. We'll get it done. Alright. Rear it off course here. So let's correct that. Monopropellant is actually a lot more than I need. Might be able to save some weight with that if I want. There we go. Okay, that is not good. We want to fly over it for now. There, something like this, I think. Here. Yeah. There we go. I should really download that docking port alignment indicator. It's an extremely useful tool. Okay, open this up and control. Nope, crap. Control from here. There we go. There we go. Nice and easy. I gotta admit, I am very much a fan of how proficient I've become at doing this now. Where's my... Oh boy. We're moving far too fast. It's okay though. There. We're also way out of alignment. So let me just, there we go. Alright. Perfect. Now we just nicely drift on in. I can't wait to get out of here. It's funny because I recently, you know, rewatched my Kerbal Gateway Spaceport episode because I was curious if the frame rate was always this terrible. And I don't know what's causing. I mean, obviously this is a lot of parts. A lot of parts being clicked together here. And while I'm not exactly running off of a potato, this is not, you know, nearly as powerful a gaming PC as many other people. Anyway, there we go. Docking maneuver complete. Now let's initiate the crew transfer. So where are you guys? Nobody's in there. Okay. Everybody in here? Okay, Brooke is in here. We're gonna have to get these guys out first. So let's start by removing our... I'd like to transfer the crew, please. No? Okay, okay, just cancel that. Alright, there we go. Transfer the crew. Which one of you guys is the scientist? It's Antry, isn't it? Yes. So, Antry, get in that science pod. I imagine one of you's in the... Yep, there's Neil Orf. Let's get him in there. Transfer Tom Can. There, I believe Tom Can's the one who's the... Yeah, Samri's the engineer. I remember that. If you get in, we go ahead and let's not have him be alone in there if we can avoid it. And then everybody else, where is everybody else? Brooke is in here. Let's get her up there. And I think that's it. We only had 2 Kerbals up here to begin with. So basically, I'm just going to check. We have Tom Can in here, Antry and Samri in here, nobody in there, nobody in there, that's an inventory container, and nobody in there. Okay, that's good. So pretty much everybody's where we need them to be. I hope these pods are empty too. Yeah, all these are empty. which makes me wonder why the lights are still on. I'm usually better than this. There we go. There's no need to have the lights on those pods. Okay. So that basically concludes this. Now all we have to do... Actually, I'm not even sure if we have to, because I might as well. Just get some... at the very least, the liquid fuel. In fact, I think that's all we really need to transfer into here. So let's pump this pod full of liquid fuel so that we have enough fuel to perform the landing. The re-entry maneuver is not going to require much, I don't think. I don't remember exactly how much... Yeah, if that's proportionately the amount of oxidizer we have in every rocket fuel pod, I think we're going to be fine. We're not going to have to... I don't want to waste fuel if I can avoid it. And, you know, we need... Those refueling launches cost a lot and are time-consuming, so don't want to perform many of that if I can avoid it. But we're good with this for now, so let's quick save, just in case it's not enough fuel that we have on board. And now let us undock. Holy smokes. Stabilize, please, quickly. Alright. It's kind of aggressive. Anyway. Close the shield. Close that. Now. It is currently nighttime. So we're just going to rotate here in orbit until we get, you know, KSC is back in the sunlight. I could land in the dark, obviously. It might even be cooler because you get to land on the lit up runway. Ah, there we go. Frame rate's smooth again now, which means we've floated away from the station successfully. 162 units of oxidizer left. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll just pause this. Give me a sec. Hey, everybody. Sorry. Game crashed. Tends to happen to me every now and then. Not entirely sure what's causing it. Anyway, we're about to begin the landing. I changed the course slightly, so there's a bit of a different burn now. We're at a 17,000 periapsis over. The periapsis being directly over the Kerbal HQ. I'm going to try and bring us in at like a 30-degree angle. That should be sufficient slowing power. Let's see if this works. So, if you want to hear the bad news, by the way, by the time I was finished with my space plane construction and my attempts to, you know, master single stage to orbit, it dawned on me suddenly that none of what I am doing right now is going to be useful to me on Eve. So, trying to land and take off from Eve cannot be performed using this method because there is no air. There's an atmosphere, but it's not an atmosphere that will properly feed the jet engines. So landing a space plane and taking off with it from Eve is not going to be possible. So nothing that I'm doing right now is going to help me in my Eve mission. Sad face. Alright, might have slowed down a bit too much there. It's okay. Rather approach the runway from further behind than have to turn around mid-flight. We're steady. Engine switch to air intake mode. I can see the land. Speed is decreasing. I'm turning off RCS. It's not really helping us at this point anymore. Control on this vessel is admittedly not all that good. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I got about an entire landmass to fly before we get to our goal. So now that the burn is complete, should be pretty much over in a minute. I mean, you can hear it decreasing. There we go. Okay, so now let's just flash forward to the point where I am getting ready to land. Huh? How about that? All right, we're coming in. All right, here we are. We're coming in. Fuel supply is at its end. Yeah. As long as we have enough to get the job done, that's all that matters. There we go. Did most of this flight fairly close to the ground, as you can tell. Again, with no air brakes, this is a bit terrifying. Just a bit, though. Alright, let's line her up. Okay, don't descend quite that steep. Land is coming in at a pace I'm not quite happy with. I do have to have my finger on the button all the time. But this looks like one of the smoothest landings, coming up towards the runway. This looks like one of the smoothest landings I've ever performed. Here we go. And cut the engine, put the brakes. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, a little bit more fuel next time. So apparently refueling could have occurred, but we did it. We've landed. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Let's recover the vessel, and then just to see if this whole, jet fuel to rocket fuel to weight ratio to engine number ratio really does work on vessels of all sizes. I want to perform this flight one more time. This time to see if we can get a bigger ship. Did we actually recover more? We got 100% value. This didn't cost 60,000, did it? Apparently it did. Wow. But we got back all the parts. So, space planes, single stage to orbit, obviously the way to go. So, yeah, let's do this one more time. Let's do it. Single stage to orbit Mark II, bigger plane, carries a bigger payload, has more engines. Let's do this. Oh, no, don't sway out of control, please. Please don't do this. Please just fly. I'd like you to fly, please. Come on, lift off. There we go. SSTO Mark II on its way. Principle is pretty much the same. We're going to fly her, the same way that we did the other vessel. Let's see if it works. Apoapsis is above 90,000. You're on your way, Jose. All right. Now we pretty much just wait. Get up the periapts as we did last time. So far, fuel is actually looking better than the other one it was. Let's see if that stays. At this point, the delta V calculation is pretty much reliable. We're obviously going to make it into orbit. The question is how much fuel are we going to have left when it's done. We'll see. I am very pleased with this. Very pleased with this indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a stable orbit. Now, let's head out to that payload and see if we can't find it. Okay, so this mission is to recover a part. It was an unidentified part when looking at it from orbit, but based on the dimensions that was given in the contract, I assume it to be a cupola module. And I can't quite see it yet from here, but that's indeed what it looks. It's either that or a lander can. I think it's a cupola module. Oh, I'm gonna have to sneeze. Excuse me. There we go. Get that out of the way. You might be able to tell I'm a bit under the weather right now. Ever so slightly. No, it's... Crap. That's too fast. Alright. There's the lander barge. Still there, sitting on the ocean. Okay, what are you? What are you? Okay, you don't look like a cupola module anymore. You're an engine. Ah. Alright, well, I was completely wrong. Anyway. Now we're gonna have to try and catch it. We've got a lander arm in there, from which we are going to control the vessel. There's our target. Just hope that it fits. That would be a problem if it turned out that it didn't. Again, I was banking on this being a cupola module. It met the weight requirements and stuff. Not sure how much of this you can see. Goes. Come on, grab onto it. It's grabbed! Yay, we have it. Now let's close this. Does it fit inside? It does, in fact, fit inside. Yay! Okay, so now the part that worries me a bit, I'm gonna have to do something about the sizes of the flaps on the plane. Yep, look, no clipping, no nothing. Sweet. So yeah, let's now try to land, shall we? Okay, so at this point I'm gonna start dropping the plane. We're at serious danger of overshooting our target, so I have to try and air brake slow us down. all the time worrying that if I drop the plane's nose, we're going to start spinning out of control because the weight is all out of whack because of all the fuel that I've burned. Also, I have to start fighting for control. No. When I say control, I mean I have to line us up with the runway too. Okay, 800. Still incredibly fast. Fortunately, natural air resistance is slowing us as well, so physics is kind of on my side right now. I know I can do better. I know I can do better than this. Pretty lined up right now. Okay, need to kick the engines up so that we get more upward thrust. Okay, I'm going to drop us a bit some more and pull up. Not nearly enough power on the flaps. We are slowing down though. Okay, back down, drop, pull up. It should slow us down nicely. Looks like we have a nice line towards the runway. 200 meters per second, drop again. Up again. Oh my god, we're still going way too fast. I'm not pleased with the speed. It's coming down though. Almost gliding in towards the runway. And we're down. Hit the brakes. Switch off the engines. We're well off the runway, but a bit of a skid. Okay, well, it was not nearly as nice a landing as the other one was, but you know what? I don't really care. Let's recover this. Oh. Oh my goodness, the stress. Okay. It's good stress though. This is the kind of stress that you want to experience. Let's take a look at all the contracts we completed, huh? In a minute. Okay, first let's see. We recovered the almost full price of the vessel. We didn't land on the runway, so had to haul it back up, but it's fine. It's still good. Still made a ton of money. We're raising money again. Pilots obviously didn't get any reputation, but let's see, we got the science data from around Kerbal, of course. We recovered the unit. It's an extra 30,000 in the bank, that's great. Yes. Rescue, yep, we rescued the Kerbal. He's now part of our crew. And that does it. This is the single stage to orbit episode. I'm going to edit out most of it because it was, there were a lot of maneuvers in there and such. I've been playing for quite a while. You're probably not going to see nearly as much of this. And yeah, we're still going to have to work towards our Eve landing. Considering that single stage to orbit is not going to work because of the lack of oxygen, I'm not sure how we're going to do it. Not sure what there is that we can do. But I'll figure something out. If push comes to shove, I'll build a space elevator or something. There's got to be a way that we can do it. I'm going to start looking up tutorials and the like, see what we can come up with. Until then, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you found this video useful. I will, of course, link my source material, the other videos that taught me how to do this, in the description so you can check them out. They do a much better job of explaining how single stage to orbit crafts are supposed to work than I do. And I will see you on the next Daily Kerbal. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.